All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everyone? We're back for a Wednesday edition of the NBA show. As always, got my guy Matt here. One of my favorite shows of the week to do every single week. But Matt, how you doing? Last time we did a show, we were pretty on top of it. I don't know if you remember, that was the Wizards slate where Kadari Richmond and Alondes Williams both had pretty big games. So, but how you doing? Your Cavaliers 6-1 since the acquisition of James Harden. Got to be feeling pretty good over there.
Yeah, I feel like I need to pour one out for Kadari Richmond, considering he's no longer even like DFS viable because he's not even on any slates anymore. So that stinks. But yeah, we got that called out pretty nicely. You are all over that Alondes Williams call. Like, again, before everyone was on him, he was under 1% owned last night. I know that one guy won the whatever it was that night, $15 or $18 with both of them. They both smashed Alondes especially. So yeah, that always feels good. I wish I had played them, but at least it feels good to talk about them. Yeah, man. Cavs have been really fun to watch since the Harden trade. Just feels like they got more juice. Like their locker room vibes are back from last year. I don't know what happened. They just kind of got stagnant. Obviously, the Harden injury news, I hope it doesn't throw a wrench into anything. I mean, I'm seeing that he's trying to play tonight, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, exciting times. Can't wait for the playoffs to start. They can't start soon enough as far as I'm concerned. But as far as tonight goes, always look forward to these Wednesday shows with you. We got a fun slate tonight, a true sprint slate where first game starts at 7:30, last game starts at 8. So really excited to break this one down with you.
Yeah, absolutely. A ton of injury news as always at this point in the season. Couple tanking teams on the slate. Really just two, I guess, Memphis and Sacramento, kind of the main guys. But yeah, just saw Shams posted that Harden's going to play through the injury. It sounded like it wasn't going to be too big of an issue. I don't think it's his non-shooting hand. So hopefully the shooting is not affected too much. You don't really use your off-ball thumb as much. So hopefully everything's good there. But yeah, big win for the Cavs last night, beating the Knicks at home. I don't want to belittle the Cavs at all because they've been playing really good with James Harden, and their offense looks great. The defense looks really good with Mobley out there. But I felt like
sense of butt coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like that loss for the Knicks, it was more about the Knicks losing the game than the Cavs winning, because it's not like the Cavs really dominated in that game. It was just the Knicks went ice cold in the second half. But I mean, either way, a win's a win. I do think that they'll be able to kind of hold their own, if not come out of the East. So yeah, what are your thoughts after that win last night?
Yeah, so I agree with you like about how that specific game played out. The only counter I would throw at you is that like this team doesn't matter how you beat the Knicks. Like the Knicks have been a real wrench in their side, just their physicality. When they played earlier in the year, I think it was on Christmas, the Cavs outplayed the Knicks for 44 minutes. I don't know if you remember that game. They were up 16 going into the fourth quarter, but lost that game just because they got dominated inside. Mitchell Robinson ate Allen and Mobley's lunch, had like 5 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter alone. So yeah, I don't think the Cavs like played amazing last night. I do think it was a lot of the Knicks losing as opposed to the Cavs winning, but to beat that team from where the Cavs stand just feels good. Like I'm not overstating it. I don't think it means a ton going into the playoffs, but again, I'll go back to just, I like the vibes of this team right now.
Yeah. Looking at the numbers, a lot of the same kind of, I mean, only 11 offensive rebounds for the Knicks last game, but I believe Mitch Rob he had 8 of those. So he continues to play really well against the Cavs front court. But yeah, I mean, yeah, still kind of a statement win. I mean, that's always big to beat the Knicks, especially you kind of mentioned that they've always kind of had their number as of late. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they maybe that's an Eastern Conference matchup in the finals. I still think that Detroit's going to be the team to come out of the East, but Cleveland's definitely making a case for it, as we talked about a lot.
I didn't know, like last week when we were talking about this, I think it was probably the last show we did. I could tell you were much higher on Detroit than I was for their playoff, future and success. I didn't realize you were all the way into you think they're going to come out of the East, especially with the Cavs and now, Tatum looking like he might be back. We're completely on different. Usually we're on the same page on a lot of stuff. We're just different here.
Yeah, I think that the little bit of experience that they got last year in the playoffs will help them a ton. But I mean, they clearly have a big issue with their 3-point shooting. I just think that their dominance inside and their defense can win them some series. And it's not like I think the East there's a lot of holes to poke in every single team in the East.
I agree.
Maybe minus Boston once they get Tatum back, but you still got to wonder what level, what percentage of Tatum are we actually getting? Probably like 60-70%, something like that.
It always throws it's always weird to throw a guy in, even a guy as good as Tatum, so late into the season when guys have kind of gotten used to playing a certain way. Everyone has to adjust to playing with Jason Tatum because he's the best player, but that still takes an adjustment. So I don't know, if I think Boston's going to come out of the East, but to your point, I think you can poke holes in every team that's up top. So, between Boston, New York, Cleveland, and Detroit, I guess, just because Detroit has been the best team in the regular season so far. So you can't just discount that. I struggle to see it be anyone else, but I do think it could be any of those 4 teams.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the path getting to the Eastern Conference Finals will kind of matter the most. Whoever's got the easiest path will probably matter the most because some of those teams will have to play each other in the second round.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, say what's up to a few people in chat. Jordan Newland's been here since 6:31 a.m. Pacific time. Marquee Sports, Parabay always here. Nate D, Philly Phantom. I got to shout out a couple people in the Discord last night. Our guy Coach Sav took down the Mini Max, and then Shalhoub came into the NBA streets and had a really good night there. Take down a couple of those single entry contests. So shout out to you guys. All right, we'll jump into the first game of the slate, San Antonio Spurs and the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are on a back-to-back after the loss to the Thunder last night, and then the Spurs coming off of a win in Detroit. 2 really, really strong defenses facing off, but still, I mentioned it last night with the matchup versus OKC. I just don't really see a situation where Toronto can compete with these good defenses. The Spurs up there with basically OKC and Detroit is the same style of defense. They are one of the best rebounding teams in the league, top 2 in defensive rebounding, top 7 in transition defense, and then one of the best rim protecting teams in the league. The Raptors are a team that likes to get to the basket. They're one of the top offensive rimming frequency teams in the NBA. But Raptors have been pretty good as well. They're top 6 in defensive rating, top 9 rebounding, top 3 transition. So doing a really good job keeping things in the half court. But they are still a bottom 10 rim defense and bottom 9 3-point defense. So there's definitely some areas we could see San Antonio take advantage of here. Saw Devin Vassell have a huge game last night, and then Wemby really took over in the second half of the game. Was just amazing on defense against the Pistons. That one, not letting them get any easy buckets around the basket, but for this one, what are you looking at from a fantasy perspective? I guess decent enough total, but we do have some better value and better overall totals in some of these other games.
Yeah, not a ton that I like here. For me, it's honestly playing, 1, 2, 3 lineups. The only, I think, guy that I would make a priority, if that, is Wemby, just because I think we will have money to spend up. It's not the greatest spot in the world, but he's, spot proof. He can go off in any matchup. We just saw it in Detroit. I love that he went nuts in the second half, kind of carry that over into tonight. You're never going to get massive minutes from him, but he can do it in 30 minutes. He can do it in 20 minutes. He's just an alien. So Wemby's the guy for me in this game. Other than that, this isn't to say I don't think Castle, Fox couldn't get there. I just think there's guys I'm going to prioritize more at those positions. Wemby would be the only guy for me, but even him, if I'm just playing one lineup, it's not like he's a lock for me here. I like him, but he's not a lock. So how do you see it? Do you see it any differently?
Yeah, I think Wemby's pretty good, but I do agree with you. We will have to talk about Jalen Duren and Jared Allen, who look like they're in pretty good spots. Sengun and some of the Warriors guys, and then the OKC guys. Some of them have dual eligibility, so you can get to 2 of Wemby, Duren, and Jared Allen, but he's $11K now. did play the most minutes he's played in a game since October 30th, 36 minutes last game. I feel like there's a little bit of like a motivation factor for Wemby, kind of seeing the MVP race tightening up a little bit. Like maybe he's thinking that he has a chance to get there. You think anything like that? I mean, because Cade had a really bad game against the Spurs, pretty big win for San Antonio there, and then Shea is obviously not playing. Jokic is one game removed from being ineligible, and also the Nuggets are playing pretty bad right now. So I think that there's a chance Wemby could sneak into the towards the top of the MVP odds. I kind of think there's a little bit we know that he's very driven about these sort of things. Like the All-Star game was a pretty big example. MVP means a lot more than an All-Star game, but I could see him really turning it up in the final stretch of the season.
Honestly, that hadn't even. I was more thinking that I thought that game against Detroit was kind of just a big game on the schedule. They only play twice a year. Detroit is tops in the East. San Antonio is also very good. I like your angle a lot better. He is live for it just because a lot of these candidates are dropping like flies. So it's almost, the war of the attrition. It's just who can stay healthy. Man, that's a good angle to take. I think it's tough, to say, oh, I'm going to lock Wemby in because of that. But man, that certainly doesn't hurt his case for me, at least.
Yeah, they are 3 games back from the Thunder right now, and they have a 5.5 game lead over the third place team, which is the Rockets. So really just one team they're looking up to catch right now. So I think that, OKC's still injured. They're winning games, but they're
All right, I am back, guys. It was Rio's internet, I think, that might have gone out. So you got me for just a minute. We'll see if he can hop back on here. Let me pull up the stuff to share the screen. Sorry about this, guys. It's a little bit short notice for me, but let me see what I can do here. All right, pulling this stuff up right now. Give me a second, guys. All right, I'm pulling up. I got the stone pulled up. All right, we talked about, we're on this game right here. So, yeah, might as well just keep talking about it and see if Rio can hop back on. All right, for from a DFS perspective, outside of Wemby, who we had talked about, not sure there's that much else. I see Fox getting a little bit of ownership. Not sure I really buy that. I think he's a fine play at 7K. Price is down, so don't hate it. But for me, hard to say he's a priority. Other than that, I think you can take shots on guys in tournaments, but nothing really that stands out. From the Toronto side, nothing really to like here. Again, I think you can take shots on guys in tournaments. Pirtle, projects okay for 4,400. One of these games, I think you're going to get him to really exceed that $4,400 tag, and then he'll probably be priced higher because he has been for basically his entire career. There we go. He's back.
Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi has been really spotty the last couple of days, and there's no guarantees that I'm going to be able to finish the show, but I'll try to go to a hotspot on my laptop if anything else happens.
No, you're cool. I just was based on like what had happened a few weeks ago. I was worried it was me, so I left the stream, came back, put up the stone, and we can just talk through it as quick as we can while you're on here.
Yep. I don't remember where I left. I think I was kind of touched on Wemby, but we've seen Stephon Castle 3 strong shooting performances in a row, 65% true shooting in 25 minutes per game. I think there's a good chance for some open looks for him here with Wemby demanding so much attention. I think kind of the same thing for Vassell and Julian Champagny, 2 guys coming off of really hot shooting nights. Raptors a little bit more vulnerable around 3-point line, but probably a little too thin to get there. Did you have anything on the Raptor side of things?
No, I think all these guys, like, they're main guys you can take shots on in tournaments, but picking on the Spurs is more of a fool's errand than anything these days. And just with some other really good spots tonight, I don't see it personally in limited lineups. Not that I would be like, again, I want to make it clear, I wouldn't be like Xing them out if I were playing 150 like you, but in limited lineups, they're just not priorities at all, and I doubt I get there.
I agree with that. I think the guys you're looking to are the same ones mentioned last night. It's Quickly and Barrett for me. Barnes is just so reliant on scoring around the basket, and then he also got 7 stocks last game. Like, if you think that's going to happen most nights, which it likely won't, then you should play him. But if not, you're probably going to be underweight. I'm probably going to be full fading him. And he's also questionable, so that could open up a little bit of value. Will make all of those guys, Ingram, Quickly, and Barrett, much, much better. I think Barrett would be the guy that I'd look to, though, just cheapest and coming off of a couple good games, playing more minutes as well.
Yeah, the only other guy I did shout that, like, I don't think is like a smash play is Pirtle, 4,400. One of these games, he's likely to really exceed value at that price and then be priced higher because he's never been a $4,400 player when he's playing real minutes, and he's not like there yet, but his projection is decent enough where he's at least in the pool for me.
Yep, I agree with that. Which game do we have next on the stone?
We had the Thunder Pistons game first, but we went Spurs Raptors. So let's talk Thunder Pistons. Sorry, I'm trying to like center this, but
it's all good. I could actually get Saberson back up here if you give me one.
All right, cool. And then if you go out again, I'll just run it live and I'll pull this back up. So bear with us, guys. Appreciate it.
We should be back now. Let me get this game up. All right, so we got OKC at Detroit. Going to be a new look for OKC than what we saw most of the season and last night, but they'll be without Shea, no J-Dub, no Chet. He's doubtful. Caruso, Harden, and AJ Mitchell should all be out for this game as well. Matchup will change in a big way, so I don't really think it's worth reading off the numbers too much for the season-long stuff for the Thunder, but Detroit looking to bounce back after the loss to the Spurs 2 nights ago at home. Both these teams will play similar style of defenses when they are healthy, which is taking away the rim scoring, number 1, and number 2 rim defense from an effective field goal percentage standpoint this season, but they're both bottom 10 and bottom 5 in three-point defense this season. Expecting OKC's rim defense to be much worse. They're a lot more attackable around the basket when you take away Harden and Chet, and they also become a pretty average to below average rebounding team when you take away those 2 guys as well. And to the point above, I was looking at some of the 3-man lineups with SGA, Chet, and Caruso off the court, and then even adding like Harden in there. But the SGA, Chet, and Caruso lineups that feature none of them, they go from 100.3 with those 3 on the court to 124 defensive rating with all 3 off the court, which would be one of the worst defensive ratings in the NBA this season. So basically, any 3-man lineup that does not include Chet or Caruso is going to be seeing a really big dip in defensive rating. So I do think that the Pistons offense should be able to bounce back here tonight. But with the OKC injuries that they're going to be dealing with tonight, I think we're going to have to look to these guys for values, but what are you prioritizing right now?
Yeah, there is blowout concern here, obviously, because Detroit is really good, especially at home. OKC second half of a back-to-back missing a lot of their best guys. That said, like, you have to at least look at the OKC guys, namely the 2 Williamses, the big guys inside, Jalen and Kenrich. Like, they're just missing too much in there for them not to both play big minutes. You know, tags are higher than they were a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, but they're still probably not where they should be for like this specific role. Like, the matchup's tough, but the role they're going to have is just too good to ignore. So both the Williamses, Aaron Wiggins, 5,200. I mean, solid cog in the machine type. Like, he's not a must play for me, but small forward's always weak. So I have no problem playing him there. Isaiah Joe, 5,500 seems steep for him, but I think he's got upside at that tag still. I don't love the matchups. I don't want to go too crazy with OKC, but I think you want some OKC exposure here. Case and Wallace, monster game last night. He's probably too pricey for me, but worth a shout. I think it's really the Williamses, Joe, and Wiggins. Maybe McCain, like as a deep sleeper. How do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with you on the both the Williams guys being the ones I want to prioritize. I actually think that they match up decently where they both are capable of stretching the court and both have some playmaking upside. Like Jalen Williams, we've seen him flirt with, if not put up triple doubles before. And then Kenrich is like I guess like I'd kind of compare him to like a Kyle Anderson type of player where you can run some offense through him, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think he's a little bit better at shooting the ball, but pretty comparable offensive games there. So I think those two are pretty solid. Like fine coming in with both of them as well. I think that it'll be Brandon Carlson backing up Jalen Williams and then probably seeing some Case and Wallace. I don't really know if they're going to go into like the Brooks Barnheisers of the world in this game as long as it's close, but I would expect Aaron Wiggins to get some of the backup power forward and some small forward minutes between Kenrich, Wiggins, and Dort. And then, yeah, Case Wallace, I mean, he's really, really come on as of late. I think they're going to be in a they're going to have some big decisions to make in the offseason because he's up for a contract extension. Basically have to decide what they're going to do with like Hardenstein and Lou Dort and some of these. I think even Caruso will have to be in the conversation there. But yeah, he's coming off of his first double-double 2 games ago and then matched his career high in points last night with 27. Over the last 6 games, he's been playing great. His involvement percentage increased from 21.5% to 34%. He's on ball much more, up from 13% to 23%. Potential assist up from 4.7 to 9.3. So I think that he is going to be the focal point on offense. But to the point you made that if it does blow out, probably he'll be one of the guys getting cut. So I would consider maybe pairing him up with a Detroit guy, like if I play Kaysen or if I play like 2 to 3 OKC guys, I'd probably want to come in with like a Cade or Jalen Duren in particular. But then you're even considering like Asar and Tobias Harris would be guys that would be playing deeper into the game. And then I like your Isaiah Joe shout as well. He's been playing great over the last 6 games, 55.5% from 3-point range, 20% plus usage in 4 of his last 7 games. The 3-point line is where the Pistons are most vulnerable. So I do think that it's a pretty solid night for Joe to get some more scoring opportunity here. Anything on the Detroit side, we're going to see a decently tough matchup for Cade against Dort and Case and Wallace. They've done a great job against Cade over the last like 4 seasons.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's difficult because you do kind of have to like throw out the numbers with this lineup that OKC is rolling out tonight. Like Cade, I don't love the matchup on paper still, but he's got to be in play just because I think we'll probably have the money for him. Not projected for crazy ownership. He was really chalky last time out. I guess like all in all, I do think you have to get some of the OKC side of this game, but I don't love this game from a DFS perspective, like even with those guys out for OKC, because I think that while OKC is too cheap here for the roles, they're not like so cheap where you have to just jam them in. I think you want a little bit of exposure, but I don't think you want to go crazy with it. I don't love the Detroit side. I think that like outside of Cade, there's just not really a priority for me. I could see Duren doing work here. He's been playing really well since he came back. 7,700, not going to get a ton of ownership. The more I think about it, just thinking about how this slate's going to play out and how much just chalk we're seeing, how condensed ownership has been, I think you could get off the beaten path a little bit with Duren, who all of a sudden is in a much, much better spot here against just a backup loaded OKC front line. So yeah, I think it'd be Duren for me more than Cade. It's just tough because of the center spot. You mentioned a couple other guys that are really in play, although I do think you mentioned Duren in that group. Yeah,
Duren was the guy that was really standing out. I think it's him and Jared Allen that I have a ton of interest in, but I could really see Duren popping off in a big way here. Like you mentioned, he's going up against some pretty poor defenders and, if anything, undersized guys, and he's just a freak athlete. And I mean, the numbers even back it up. The offensive rebounding numbers dropped from 31.4% when Hardenstein is on the court to 20.4% with him off the court. The rebounding is down to 29%, which is about NBA average. They're much better with those guys on the court. 26.4% with both Hardenstein and Chet on the court this season. So could see a spot where Duren actually flirts with like a 2020 game. I think that he's got a ton of upside here. So I really, really like that. But I agree with you on K. Like, you have to have some level of interest in him just because of the lack of spend-ups on tonight's slate. We have only 2 guys priced above 10K, but only 3 guys priced above 9K, and one of those guys is Scotty Barnes. So really only have 4 guys to choose from tonight to spend up on.
Yeah, and like the Harden stuff like is a little bit suspect just because like, yeah, he's gonna play through it, but like I don't know if I can completely trust it. Like, again, not saying that I'm gonna do anything with that info, but like, would it shock me if he had to leave the game early? Like, no, clearly not. I don't know how it could shock anyone at this point.
Or he's just deferring a lot more.
Right.
Might not be taking as many shots as he normally would in this situation.
Or he plays, or that, and maybe he plays less because of not even just the injury. Second half of a back-to-back, they're obviously sitting guys already. Like, there are holes to poke there for sure. But back to I really like the Duren shout. Like, I think he could smash here. And I do think that one thing that goes a little bit unaccounted for in NBA DFS is like the other side of guys being out. Like, clearly everyone knows to go to the OKC guys because they're the direct beneficiaries of Holmgren and Hardenstein, et cetera, being out. But man, the spot just gets so much better for the other side there. So I'm in on Duren, like, for sure.
Yeah. Projection systems, and I'm not even saying this as like a conspiracy thing, but they just don't take into account opposing teams' injuries. Like, they just can't do it. They really just kind of take into account season long and like historical defensive numbers, DVP stuff. They will not take into account opposing teams' defense is getting much, much worse. So I think that he is definitely worthy of a couple more points tonight. Like, I'm going to be definitely over on Jalen Duren for sure. I think that's it on the Detroit side. I think like Tobias, Asar, Duncan, Dennis Jenkins are all worthy of keeping in the player pool. Asar was getting cut down by Ron Holland last game because Ron Holland kind of got hot and brought a lot of energy. He still only shot 1 of 6 from deep. Won't really need to worry about that too much, and I think they should win this game fairly handedly, but a little bit of interest in Asar just against a team that will be without some of its better players, better ball handlers. I think that he's somewhat interesting. All right, Warriors at Memphis. A lot of interest to talk through here on the Warriors side. Steph, Porzingis, and D'Anthony Melton will be out tonight. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is gone, or he's done for the year, and then Jonathan Kuminga traded away. Questionable tag on Draymond Green. I would assume he misses tonight, a back-to-back. Warriors still kind of fighting for play-in positioning, so maybe he plays, but I think they should be able to win this game without him. Grizzlies just have a questionable tag on Carl Anderson on top of all the guys that have been missing, but if Anderson were to miss, probably open up minutes for Ryan Rupert again. But both these teams just playing so poorly on defense right now. Warriors giving up a lot of paint points. Grizzlies also giving up a ton of paint points as well. But they are really big three-point funnel, and the Warriors are going to take a ton of threes. They're also one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA in the second half of the season. So a lot to like about the Warriors side tonight. Expect pretty big minutes from the same guys we've been expecting big minutes from, Pods, Santos, and Moses Moody in particular. But if you want to talk through some of this Warrior stuff, I think we're definitely going to be getting to a good amount of Warriors tonight.
So, yeah, before I even get to the Warriors, I think I want to bring up a broader like slate kind of overview for me and just thinking about this out loud and talking about it because we like talking the strategic stuff. Like, I get why Jalen Williams and Kenrich Williams are so popular, especially Jalen Williams. But I think there are so many good plays on this slate. And as I mentioned earlier, there's chalk that's just condensing so much in NBA DFS these days that I do think that getting off the beaten path in a spot or two makes a lot of sense. I don't know if this is the spot for it because all these guys are getting ownership, but man, I like these guys just as much as I like the OKC guys because I do think Draymond misses. I like this spot a lot better. I think this game environment sets up really, really well from a DFS perspective. D. Santos, I've turned the corner on him completely. I mean, he's just really, really productive, like when he's on the floor, especially with this team right now. So 6,100, more fairly priced than he's been. I don't think he's overpriced at all. I like him a ton here. Pods, who we were both on last night, he still looks really good, even better with no Melton here. Al Horford will probably get the biggest bump with Draymond out, Like those three guys, I like a ton here. Moses Moody, 5,900. Like he's not the most productive, but he plays so much and he can get hot. Again, weak small forward position. I like Golden State a lot here. It's just such a good spot. Gary Payton with the dual shooting guard, small forward eligibility. I like him a lot. Will Richard, you can kind of get exposure to this game without getting it at ownership with him. So, yeah, I think there's a ton to like about Golden State here. Probably the most appealing team on the entire slate from my perspective. How do you see it?
Yeah, agree with everything you said. I mean, they're running out a really tight rotation, which is very rare for a Steve Kerr-led team, just with how thin they are. And I think they're even missing one of these other guys that would have been playing minutes tonight if you were in. I think his name is Nate Williams. Or who was it? Was it Jonathan Williams? I forget his name, but they realistically could have a 9-man rotation tonight, potentially even 8 if Draymond were to miss, because I don't think they're going to be giving this Malevi Leon's guy much run in a game that they want to win. So to your point, Pod's been really, really good. Last 6 games, his role hasn't really changed too much, but he's just playing more minutes and is adding more potential assists to his stat line. He's also rebounding the ball really well. He had like 16 rebounds last night. I think that's what he ended with, but 15 rebounds in back-to-back games as well. So he's just been rebounding the crap out of the ball. Yeah, he's always been a really solid rebounder for his position. Kind of reminds me of who was it? There's another guard that's just a really good rebounder. I forget. He's a really good offensive rebounder, but Pods has been really, really good there. And taking away Draymond is going to only help that a little bit more, because Al Horford's not really a guy that's like chasing down boards what Pods and Guy Santos will be. But Guy, another guy that's been much more involved in offense, adding more of an on-ball role as well. His potential assists are up from 2.3 to 7.5 over his last 6 games. Got a double-double last night. Good chance to get that here versus a really small and really bad front court and bad Grizzlies rebounding team. I agree with you on Moody. I think that he's one of the better offensive options that they have now. Over the last 6 games, shooting 65% true shooting percentage, 16.2 points per game. Really good scoring upside for here against a team that gives up a ton of threes. Grizzlies are bottom 7 in 3-point frequency this season. And then, Al Horford should be locked in for pretty solid minutes if and when Draymond does get rolled out. 5.3K, power forward center, really easy click, or we don't have to waste a center spot on him. Going to be playing probably 27 to 28 minutes regardless, but maybe he tops 30 if Draymond's out. And then the final grouping of the Will Richard, Post, and then Payton. If Draymond's out, then it's going to be Al Horford and Post getting most of the front court minutes. I think they'll probably split the front court minutes between Santos, Horford, and Post. So I'd be max 2 of those 3 guys, which would probably just mean getting less Post, which I'm totally fine with. I would be a max 2 of Pod, Spencer, and Will Richard, and then a max 1 of Gary Payton and Moses Moody. And then if that's too restrictive of the max 1 Payton and Moody, you can just toss in Payton to the guard rule, max 2 Pod, Spencer, Richard, and Gary Payton. But I feel like Moody is pretty safe regardless. And then for the Memphis side, you just haven't really needed these guys. I think it's really just been Javon Smalls, the only guy that's really popping in some of these perfect lineups. But different situation now because they will be getting Ty Jerome back. Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be getting his minutes extended a little bit more per the coach. So I think there's only 2 guys I'm really considering, and that would be Jerome and Scottie Pippen. If you believe that Ty Jerome is a 1.66 fantasy points per minute producer like he has been this season, although only in 100-something minutes, then he would still be in play at 6.1K because it's a good matchup, and that would put him at 39 DK points in 22 minutes or so. So still a fine option if you really believe that he's going to be putting up Jokic and Giannis level numbers, which I just don't really believe, but he's done it every single game. But Scottie Pippen feels like the guy that's best points per dollar in my opinion. What about you for the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, I like Pippen the most for sure. I've just struggled to get to Jerome in those minutes at this price tag. He gets there every game. You've got revenge on his side tonight too. So I get it if you're playing him, but for me, I do like Pippen more. Doesn't look like anyone from Memphis is going to get much ownership. I'm trying to think of that guard that was the offensive rebounder that you couldn't think of. The guy that comes to my mind when you say that is Josh Hart. Just is a really good offensive rebounding guard. And then 2 guys for the Cavs, Craig Porter and Jalen Tyson, both can rebound the ball, but I don't think either of those guys were who you were mentioning. So if it
I'm going to see if I could find it.
Seemed like you were kind of going back with it. Just trying to read your vibes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it. I got to keep thinking about it. It's like on the tip of my tongue right now.
I can tell. It's tough though, because like I think you can play like 5 Golden State guys, so it makes you want Memphis, but you don't need it. Like with how Memphis is priced, with how they're playing their guys right now in terms of minutes, like Golden State's the side you want here. And I don't think like you're making a mistake playing a guy or two from Memphis, but I don't think you have to force it at all.
I remember who it was. I was thinking of Peyton Pritchard.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe the numbers don't really back it up, but there'll be so many times where you just see him go for offensive rebounds, like those backdoor where he just doesn't get boxed out, and he just comes down with like 3 offensive rebounds randomly in a game. But yeah, I agree with you on the Memphis stuff. It's going to be pretty tough. I think I'm not going to be Xing these guys out because there's a chance that more minutes could open up if Kyle Anderson were to miss, but I would be a max 1 of all the guards. So that'd be max 1 of Jerome, Pippen, Small, Clayton, and Spencer. Again, if that's too restrictive for you, then it could be max 2, but I'm probably going to be a max 2 overall of Memphis. Max 1 of Jalen Wells and Ryan Rupert, and then max 1 of Gigi, Hendricks, and Meshack. I do think that Rupert is a guy to keep an eye on because he played 2 13-minute rotations in each half. I think he tied or led the team in minutes last game, and they just need more length. So I think that they like him. So I'm kind of I got lucky last game because I actually ended up accidentally clicking him in single entry, and he was like less than 1% owned and was the second best scorer on the Memphis Grizzlies that night.
So yeah, I remember we talked about like that slate leading up to it and about how we wanted to get different. So I respect that you got on him to kind of get different there. I ended up getting different, and I didn't play Reynaud that night and played 5 Memphis, but that lineup was still due like numerous times. So it was tough to avoid on that slate after you played Wemby and Cade, like because it was only that 3-gamer. So the Rupert call was like very much outside of the box. It could have burned you, but it was worth it on that slate. So
yeah. There's just really no difference between any of these guys from a minute standpoint. The only difference is that some of these guys are decent basketball players and some of them are not. Like some of these guys they'll have times where they can put up really strong per minute numbers like Jerome and Gigi and Pippen. Like we know these guys are likely going to be playing decently long NBA careers where like I don't really know what to expect from like Omax and Small and some of these other guys. I would also keep an eye on Omax Prosper because he's on a 2-way deal and he's kind of quickly running out of games. So he could be just a DNP tonight. He might be inactive. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one leading up to the slate because if Anderson is in and Omax is not starting, I would think that there's a decent chance that Omax just doesn't play.
Yeah, good shout.
You talking about Gary Payton or Peyton Pritchard? I'm assuming you're talking about Gary Payton. For me, it's just he just doesn't do enough in games to be viable in DFS, but he is cheap and does have the shooting guard small forward eligibility. I just really never a guy that plays Gary Payton personally.
Yeah, I've been playing him a little bit recently just because his tag has been like very, very cheap and they've been in some good spots. So his tag is now to the point where like I don't really want to play him, especially if he's getting some ownership, which he is here. Like I do think the spot sets up well though, where like he could get a bunch of stocks here because Memphis can be sloppy with it. And, with no Draymond, like depending on this game plays out, he could see the court more. So he's in play for me, but not a priority is the best way to put it.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to the next one. Sacramento Kings at Houston Rockets. Sacramento pretty healthy, I guess. They played DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook normal minutes last night, which really hurt the upside of Keegan Murray and Maxime Reynaud. I don't really know if they'll do that tonight. It just feels like a game where, like last game, they were playing another tanking team. They were kind of in control of the whole game, so they probably just thought we can afford to win. Where tonight, I definitely think they'll probably tank it up a little bit. But the Rockets will be without Amen Thompson tonight. Should see Reed Shepherd into the starting lineup and should make him the chalkiest play on the slate, but for really good reason. I mean, he's been great in any of the games that Amen Thompson has missed in his short career outside of the first 2 where Reed Shepherd only played like 5 minutes, but pretty much every other game he's been great in filling in for Amen Thompson. And I think that he's a guy that they'll need some more out of as they get deeper to the playoffs, because this team is like one of the worst clutch teams in the NBA. They just turn the ball over a ton, can't get any scoring, and it's kind of weird because you got to Kevin Durant for this kind of exact reason, but their clutch offense just looks so bad right now, and they're also turning the ball over a ton. So I think adding a guy like Shepherd, who is not really your prototypical point guard, more of like I don't know, he's like a Peyton Pritchard almost. Like he's not going to be facilitating offense. He's like very much looking to score, but I do think that he's taking a big step forward this year, and they'll definitely need him tonight. So interested to see what happens here. But yeah, anything on the Kings for you, and then you could break down the Rockets. I assume the Kings will be pretty short.
Yeah, man, the Kings are tough because like they were already tough, and then they're going to play their guys more minutes last game. I do think that like going back to like the Reynaud, interesting, because again, I always like guys that were like super popular the last slate, then let the field down, and now they're getting no ownership. But he's not getting no ownership because he let the field down. He's getting no ownership just because of just how this slate plays out. So I think like that's interesting, but nothing from Sacramento is a priority for me. Shepherd clearly, for me at least, looks like even better than the OKC guys, the best play on the entire slate. Like outside, you mentioned that he's played really well when Thompson's been out. He's also just playing really good ball right now. So I think he's got one game out of his past like 6 games under like 28 DK points, which is a fine score for this tag. He's got 30 plus in a bunch of those games. So if you're not playing, like the only reason not to play Shepherd here is ownership, and the ownership will be really, really high, but he's far too cheap for this spot. You could see him even getting like I'm not worried about the blowout with him as I would be, as much with him as I would be for like their expensive guys. So yeah, Shepherd just looks really, really good here. I am worried about the blowout for the expensive guys like Durant getting some ownership, Sengun getting a bunch of ownership. And I get it. Like the spot's good. Their price tags are good. I do worry a little bit about their ultimate upside in a game that I think they just cruise in. So kind of just saw this spot with Houston. Who'd they play the other night where it was kind of the same?
It was Utah.
Yeah, Utah. So, I mean, Utah one night, Sacramento the next night, like basically the same thing,
Yeah, and I think the Kings are probably less competitive than Utah is tonight. I just think that they're a much, much worse team. So I kind of agree with you. There's definitely holes to poke in both KD and Sengun. I feel like the floor feels pretty good for Sengun tonight. I think that he's going to be running more offense. We saw him put up a triple-double the last game that Amen missed. And KD was not that good in that game, but that was against OKC. So take it somewhat with a grain of salt. KD did have 17 potential assists last game, 12 assists for a double-double. Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of feel like it's, I don't know, one or the other. I don't really think I want to get to both of them, because then you're starting to, like, what story are you creating with your lineup playing both those guys? They just smash in 28 minutes each. Definitely possible, but you're also eating up a lot of salary tonight. So I would probably not want to come in with both those guys in my lineups personally. I do think that Tari and Jabari are for sure in play here. Jabari is coming off arguably his best game of his career, 12 for 17 from the field, 1 rebound shy of a double-double, just a massive game for him. But Tari is historically a much better permanent producer than Jabari, so I would probably lean him. Field kind of agrees there. He's cheaper, different positionality. Both guys went over 40 DK points the only game that Amen missed this season, but just have a little bit more confidence that Tari can do it on a night-to-night basis than Jabari. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I like Tari more, but both are in play for sure. Man, I had a swap last slate with Jabari in it that I just didn't get to, and needless to say, I wish I had.
Yeah. He's been playing well, though. He's been definitely turning a bit of a corner this season, especially as of late, shooting the ball much better. He was in a huge slump, like right around the All-Star break or just before the All-Star break, but been shooting the ball really well and adding some rebounds. So I don't think that it's like such a big gap between the two where Tari should be. I don't know if it's going to come in 35 for Tari, 9 Jabari. I feel like it's probably closer to like 25 Tari, maybe like 15 Jabari, something like that, which kind of changes things a little bit. What do you think there?
I think there's more sticker shock on Jabari's tag for whatever reason, at least to me. I think the field sees it that way. even though Tari is expensive for how he's usually priced also, like he's under 6,500. Jabari is closer to 7K. So yeah, I guess we got the whole family upstairs now. So yay. I like Tari more, but I do think to your point, like there's no reason why he should be significantly higher owned. So not sure how it's going to play out for me in terms of the positionality stuff, but all in all, I do think like they're similar plays. To your point, Jabari's been playing good ball anyways. So yeah, they're both in play here. And again, kind of they're priced in between Shepherd and the expensive guys. So you have a little more leeway in a blowout with guys that aren't super pricey.
Yeah, looking at so it's pretty much just that the power forward position is fairly loaded for value. You have Jalen, Kenrich, both power forward center eligible. Gee is only power forward. Al Horford's power forward center. Even Wiggins projects as a better value than him. So I think that's kind of the only reason that it's tougher to get to Jabari. But with that being said, if you do run into another really hot game, like there's no reason why he can't repeat it. It's another really, really bad defense on the other side. Maybe it's just getting a little bit more confidence and can repeat the performance that he had against them. But I do think that Tari overall is the better play. I'm not really sure I have any rules I want to set there. Like, I don't want to get too restrictive with it, but I feel like it'd be just a max 3 overall, but maybe even a max 2 of like the starters makes sense. Any thoughts there on the rules? I'm usually come prepared, but I just don't really know how to handle this tonight because I could see them doing really well, even in limited minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Like, it is a small enough slate where, like, you know, they're going to do well in the minutes they're on the court here. And, like, it's always hard to project, like, blowouts that are so big that guys, like, aren't touching the floor in the fourth. But that's certainly at least a viable outcome here. It's tough. Like, I think it's like that fine line, right? Because, like, if Sacramento stays, like, just competitive enough, I could see all the Rockets getting there if they play enough minutes. But if Sacramento just stinks the bed and they're not competitive, like, at all, I could see none of the Rockets getting there, like, massive upside, except for, like, Reed Shepherd, who I think is going to get there no matter what. So I think there are a bunch of ways this is going to play out. I don't think you want to, like, avoid playing too much Houston, but I do think it's tough to see a scenario where, like, all of their guys get there just based on how Sacramento is. So yeah, it is difficult to project, especially because we don't know what Sacramento is going to do. Like, if they decide to play their good players more, it makes me like the Houston side even more.
Yeah. So maybe just max 3 overall and just don't really get into the groups makes the most sense. But I actually do want to circle back to your Reynaud shout because I do think it's interesting. Like, he got a slight price increase. I don't remember what he was. Might have been like 6K or 5,900 last slate. But yeah, same exact situation, just a tougher matchup, I guess. But like, Houston hasn't been lights out defensively, and they're definitely more vulnerable down low. When you take away Steven Adams, the rebounding has taken a big hit. So I do think that Reynaud, who has shown to be really good rebounder in the NBA so far, I think that he's definitely worthy of some consideration tonight. All right, Cleveland Cavaliers at Milwaukee. Obviously, no Donovan Mitchell, no Evan Mobley tonight. And then we did get news that James Harden is planning to play tonight. Still questionable, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, still questionable right now, but would expect him to be back. So for funky $40 asking, it sounds like Harden will play. Still some minutes to go around. I would expect Jalen Tyson and Sam Merrill to slide into the starting lineup. But any thoughts of what you think that Cleveland will do with the starters?
No, I do think that it is Merrill and Tyson. You're going to need more offense with both Mitchell and Mobley missing. And I like both Merrill and Tyson a lot here. A lot. Two of my favorite plays on the slate unequivocally, especially because I think that we could see a Harden that defers a lot here, like no matter what, but especially with the thumb injury. So I like Merrill. I like Tyson. I like Jarrett Allen a ton here. Those three guys, I think, are all really, really good plays. Allen, we talked about other centers we like, and I think if Duran's going to be half the ownership of Allen, I like Duran more, but I like both of them a lot. I think playing them both together makes a ton of sense for me. So, yeah, Allen, Tyson, Merrill, I like a ton here. Schroeder and Craig Porter Jr. are both at least intriguing to me just because of the Harden stuff, and they're already missing Mitchell. So I lean Schroeder, but Porter Jr. is really, really cheap. So, yeah, I want Cleveland exposure here. They're playing well in general. They're in a really good spot. I don't think they skip a beat in this matchup with both Mitchell and Mobley out. So I like the Cavs a lot here.
Yep, agree with you. I think the line went from it was 8.5 this morning before the news came, and then it dropped to 3.5 for Cleveland with the Mobley and Mitchell news, then the James Harden news. I think that people were expecting him to miss, but they're back up to 4 right now, so still going to be a close game. And obviously Cleveland is still wanting to win games, so I think they're going to play this straight up. But I agree with you. I think Tyson and Sam Merrill, pretty strong plays tonight. Milwaukee looks really bad defensively. He had a really good outing against Miami, but I'll kind of chalk that up to Miami just not playing great on defense, or great on offense, excuse me. But Milwaukee's bottom 4 in defensive 3-point frequency this season, so sets up really well for Sam Merrill, who is pretty much scoring dependent, but I mean, he's done it a couple times lately. He had 10 threes a couple games ago against, who was that against? Oh, he went 9 for 10 against Washington.
Yep.
And then 6 for 10 against OKC. So it's he can get done against harder defenses. I'm not saying that Milwaukee is, but definitely a good spot for him to get up a ton of shots. And like you said, if Harden is deferring more than he normally would if he were healthy, then that's good for him. It's really good for Jalen Tyson, who is kind of being de-emphasized with James Harden getting more acclimated to the Cleveland rotations. But last night was kind of a bounce-back game for him. 27 minutes, 12, 8, 2, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 29 DK points. I mean, he's a guy that we know has really, really good upside. So I think that he bounces back in a pretty big way here. And then I do want to get over the field on whatever Dennis Schroeder's ownership comes in at, because I remember you mentioned him kind of when they first got him, that there's going to be times where they need him. I mean, I feel like this is the time where you need some really good on-ball defense. They really have the only offensive weapons for Milwaukee are their guards, because Miles Turner does nothing. Kuzma, I mean, he can get hot at times, but more often than not, he's going to be bad. And then Bobby Portis, they should have that squared away with Jared Allen. So I do think that they might even just ask Schroeder to play more minutes regardless. Who that comes at the expense of, I feel like Sam Merrill is the easiest one to click on for him, him to eat into, but could see a situation if Harden is just not performing well, maybe they just give Schroeder a longer leash. So I definitely think that he's very much in play here.
Yeah, same. I also think not even from a DFS perspective, but a guy that could get more run tonight because of everything you just said is Keon Ellis.
Yeah, agree. I think that it's Dean Wade and Keon Ellis that are kind of the push and pull, because they do view Dean Wade as more of the point of attack defender, and I think that's the same reason that they got Keon. So really, but I do think that Wade matches up a little bit better tonight against KPJ and Ron Rollins, because those are two pretty big point guards. They're big guards. Ron Rollins has the wingspan of a 7-foot guy, and then KPJ is just a bigger guard in general. So I think that Wade matches up well there, but I do agree that this is kind of the spot where they got a guy like Keon Ellis. So I think that he will be in play. Maybe Wade gets into foul trouble. Maybe he's just not playing well, playing kind of a lot of minutes lately. So I think that I would max one of those two guys and maybe bump up Keon a little bit, because he is really cheap with the shooting guard small forward eligibility. But yeah, a lot to like on the Cleveland side. And then Milwaukee, I feel like you're really only considering 3 guys. It's the guards for me: KPJ, Ryan Rollins, Cam Thomas. Always going to be leaning Kevin Porter Jr. just because he's got the much better role when he's healthy. Did roll his ankle last night, but came back and had I got to double check, but I feel like he went to the locker room for a little bit and then had a 20+ minute rotation when he returned.
He was a monster last night. You absolutely needed him.
Yeah, he was great. And I was hoping that I avoided it. I did have Cam Thomas in one lineup, which felt really good because KBJ got injured. I also had Dyson Daniels in that lineup, which also felt good because Jalen Johnson got injured, but didn't really come to fruition. But yeah, he got injured 3 minutes into the game, played the next 16 minutes, and then basically the full third quarter. So really big second rotation stint. Go ahead.
The only thing I'll say on that is and this is just me talking out loud a little bit. A lot of times with injuries like that, especially you feel it the next day more. So not saying that he's not going to play here, but maybe the adrenaline and just the not having that much time off last night helped him, and then today he feels it a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to play him, so I'm just giving excuses and reasons in my head, not why I'm not playing him. So that's really all that this is.
Yeah. It feels like more often than not, we are getting at least one good performance from these guards. I have a lot of interest in them. I would just be a max one of Rollins and KPJ because it's kind of a hot hand approach for Cam Thomas. If he's doing well and one of those guys is not, then he'll play more minutes for one of those guys. So just max one, KPJ and Rollins, but a ton of interest in all three of those guys for sure.
And they're a volatile team right now. Like you look at their last 4 games, they've got 2 wins by double digits, 2 losses by big double digits. So
yeah,
kind of never know what you're going to get with them on any given night, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of that makes me like Schroeder a little bit more. Like if they are running away with it a little bit and they just don't need to play Harden as many minutes as they normally would, then I feel like maybe Schroeder plays like 28 tonight and Harden's at like 32.
Yeah, Sam. And I do think Harden's going to get love on this slate just because of the context of it. And just there aren't many spend up options. No Mitchell, no Mobley. Like Harden, he is a tough fade just because of all that stuff. But I do think that there are definitely reasons to fade him, especially at ownership, which he'll be owned.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely touching Jared Allen, but I love him. Like him and Duren are my 2 favorite center plays by a pretty wide margin. We've seen Allen perform really well alongside James Harden. And again, if Harden's not taking a ton of shots, it's going to go to some of these other guys. And just not really too worried about any of the defenders on the Bucks side of things when it comes to Jared Allen.
Yeah, one I guess I wanted to ask you before we go. Going back to the Golden State game, were you all done with the Cleveland-Milwaukee game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, same. How would you rank the Golden State guys if Draymond is out?
If Draymond's out, it's still going to be Pods and Gee as like the 1A, 1B for me. And then I would have Al Horford second, then Moody, and then probably Pat Spencer, Post, Peyton, and then Richard.
So does it change, like if Draymond's in, like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if he's in, it doesn't change that much except for like Santos and Pajemski are still the top 2. Then Moody would be the 3rd. And then like, I guess like Horford, Draymond after that. Like I'm not really interested in Draymond if he's in, and that kind of takes me off Horford. Are you different there?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much in agreement there. I still would have interest in Horford. Just if Draymond's in, it's still back-to-back. He's old, and they probably would want to play more Horford tonight since he's been off. But, yeah, definitely takes off a lot of the, like, really big upside for Horford, I would say.
Yeah, he becomes, like, with Draymond out, he's not, like, a must-play, but he's, like, on the short list. If Draymond's in, he's just in play for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool.
All right, I think that does it. As we always do, spend a little bit of time just kind of talking basketball at the top of the show, but more time tonight with it being such a small slate, locking within 30 minutes. So be a sprint to the finish line for this one. But yeah, any closing thoughts here?
No, just that slate plan for members will be out probably in the next hour. I know the slate starts a little bit later tonight, so a little bit extra time. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it right when we're done here, and always enjoy doing these Wednesday shows with you. I'm glad that your internet was cooperative and it was awesome for the second, like 3/4 of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with you there. Always love doing these shows with you, but we'll have me and Tato back tomorrow. Ham and Matt will be back on Friday. So back to the normal scheduling as we get closer to the end of the playoff or end of the season, get closer to playoffs, which will be a lot of showdown content, which our guy Little Nick has been doing a great job of. So I want to shout him out. But yeah, good luck to everybody. Appreciate all you guys watching, and then we'll catch you tomorrow.